Okay, so I want to tell you about a phenomenon that you may experience if you're working with the Running Iris Elixir. I would say about after week 2 or 3, you may notice, and you may have heard me say last week that you may notice this desire to take a day off or to pull back or to stay home or to take a trip, literally just to take a day off. And I want to make the extra recommendation when you're working with Running Iris, if it's possible for you in your schedule, see if you can take 1 day per week and spend the whole day in nature. If you can't do that, I recommend spending it at home with no plan. So if you can be out in nature, the benefit of that is that it will, if you live in a big city like I do, it will reduce all of the static, the urban static, the cell phone, the Wi-Fi, the unseen waves of things that we see, and also just like the saturation of living in a city, the lights, all of the different frequencies that are occurring. So if you can get out into nature, or even if you live in a rural area, you're ahead of the game because you will be able to experience the benefits of actually all flower essences, but you'll be able to more acutely experience in your own body the benefits of working with Running Iris. You may notice around week 2 or 3 of regular consistent use of Running Iris that you don't want to plan anything. There may be certain things that have felt tiring to you, so you just scrap them. And it's like Running Iris, what it's doing is it's sort of like unscrewing certain things in our systems that aren't working so it can re-screw it in a more creative, revitalizing way. And part of what happens is that we are teaching ourselves, the Running Iris is helping us conceive of far more comfort with the unknown by helping us notice how exhausted and tired we become with all of this planning that we do in our lives. Planning what we're going to do 5 minutes from now, where we're going to go to lunch, planning what we'll do today, tomorrow, the next day, filling up our schedules, etc. So it is teaching us, what does it feel like when we engage with the present moment, right in the present moment? So rather than planning too far into the future, to allow ourselves to engage with life as it arises in the moment. And the way that you can really acutely experience this, again, is by taking a day off and staying home, or by taking a day off, highly recommend it, and just getting out into nature. There is a deep sense of peacefulness, incredibly spacious, expansive, wild, freeing peacefulness that comes from not knowing what's happening, not knowing what you're going to do, not planning, and allowing yourself to make the choices of what comes next in the present moment. So in a sense, it's not like going with the flow. Going with the flow to me always seems a little bit like passive, like I'll just wait for the signs and go with the flow. Although you could refer to that as similar. It's more like a heightened, active awareness of what's happening around you, and a knowingness and a trust in yourself that whenever the next moment arises, you will then know what to do. It's like an unfolding of of your life in the present moment, rather than trying to like buffer and get in front of it, which is a habitual pattern that we all as humans have, is a sense of whether it's control, or whether it's a sense of stability or foundation or something we can lean into that feels secure to us, is this habit of planning. But it also takes up so much energy. So see this time as an experiment, as an exploration, and an experience of what does it feel like to allow yourself the freedom to not have any plan and to decide to engage with life as it unfolds moment by moment. So I would say your homework as you're working with the Running Iris Elixir is one day off at least per week where you have no plan. You're either at home, but preferably out in nature. Try to get rid of your cell phone. The best is if you can go to a place that doesn't have any cell phone reception for even just like a couple hours. And the question for this week is, after you've maybe done some of that at home, what does it feel like in your body? What does it feel like in your muscles? What does it feel like in your mind when there's no pressure to have anything figured out, there's no plan, you have no idea what you're going to do, right? It leaves it up for so much more adventure and opportunities and possibilities. And maybe you run into somebody, maybe you don't, maybe, who knows? What does it feel like in your body and your mind when you allow yourself to operate and make decisions based on what is arising in the moment, on your heightened, in tune, activated, aware, and awake sense of the present moment? Notice when you find yourself going to plan. Like, for example, a situation I was in, oh, I'm stuck in a really bad traffic accident, like stuck in the mountains. And then the mind will start to try to make a plan, right? Well, we'll like look it up on the map, and then we'll get to the next exit. And then if at the next exit it's still really bad, we could do a U-turn and we could go stay somewhere else or not go home, or oh, but we don't have cell phone reception, so there's no GPS, so we can't even see when the next exit is. I guess we'll just rest in the present moment. So noticing when your mind wants to go to figure out figure out the future. When do we go to figure it outy? And when do we allow ourselves to rest and feel the visceral spaciousness and deep sense of peacefulness that comes from just being in the present moment and allowing ourselves to engage with life as it arises in the moment? What does that feel like? And can you relax into it? That's our work for this week with Running Iris, our effortless, self-arising, revitalizing time with Running Iris.